Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Today's Elko Live here on KELK is our chance to go outdoors with among our favorite guests from the Bureau of Land Management. We're going to talk about fire safety. We're going to talk about California Trail Interpretive Center, some really exciting, cool things that you and your family can do this summer and for free, which is so nice. I do want to start the program off, though, on a somber note, just to remind listeners, if you're planning to recreate at South Fork Reservoir this weekend, you do need to know that law enforcement from Nevada State Parks, from Nevada Department of Wildlife, and the Elko County Sheriff's Office are using boats. They're searching the area, and they are looking for a drowning victim. According to the Sheriff's Office, this happened last night at about 5:17 p.m. A 40-year-old man was jet skiing near the jet ski beach. He began swimming without a life vest and was unable to get back to his jet ski. Although witnesses responded, they tried desperately to help him. They couldn't find him under the surface of the water. And at last report, they're still trying to recover this person. So very sad news. But please, boaters, you're being advised that you must stay off South Fork Reservoir until divers are out of the water and the recovery operation is complete. Now, very sad to bring you this news as, of course, we start the weekend. It does underscore the importance of safety and the significance of wearing life preservers, wear those personal flotation devices anytime you're out on the water. So, again, our thoughts are with the family, and we do hope the rescuers are safe in their endeavors. And with that, we're going to shift gears and talk with our guest from California Trail Interpretive Center. Amanda, it's always such a pleasure to sit across from you and everything that you bring to the Trail Center. And the fact is that you brought somebody new to the radio studio today to introduce from Nevada Outdoor School. Welcome, Amanda.
Hey, thank you. I'm so happy to be here yet again to talk to you about our exciting events out at the Trail Center. As always, we have so much going on, and as you mentioned, for free. So before I get to introducing our new friend, I would like to just talk a little bit about some of our summer programs that we have going on out there. So every single weekend, we will be having free events. Every Sunday, we have our bows and throws, and that alternates between archery and axe throwing. So every other Sunday will be archery and then, axe throwing. That is such a fun event. It is, I do believe, 7 and up, however, for the axe throwing. But it's super fun. We have lots of different targets out there, some new stuff, little animals, bullseyes, everything you can think of out there. Super fun for the whole family to come out to. And we do set up some shade out there, but we do recommend that everybody bring closed-toed shoes in that area, as well as a water bottle to stay hydrated, as it is very warm these days. Warming up out here. And then we have our story and crafts on Fridays. So that's going to be almost every Friday. And then we will alternate having different programs, such as our ice cream making program, which has been a really big success out there. Homemade ice cream, super fun to do. And that's for all ages and free as well. And then we will be doing some, because we noticed that people are really enjoying our food program. So we're going to be doing some Dutch oven stuff this summer. Lots of different opportunities for things like that. And you can find all of these things on our event calendar on our Facebook page, or you can do that through our website, which is just californiatrailcenter.org. Yes, .org. I always forget if it's a .com or a .org. We are a .org. And then speaking of our Facebook, I just kind of wanted to mention something cool that we have been launching this month, which is a series on our Facebook that we will be doing 3 days a week. We have Memoir Mondays, which is diary entries about life on the trail. And then Wilderness Wednesdays, which is notable nature areas along the trail and in our general area. This could be nature, animals, different places to see, historical markers. And then on Fridays, we have our Frontier Fridays, which is life in the Wild West. So that's pretty exciting stuff, from American history to California trail history. So those are all really fun things that we've been working on to get more engagement with the public and get our story out, what we're talking about out at the Trail Center.
It's terrific outreach, and you're partnering with groups, as you mentioned. You're going to be introducing Macy here shortly, but you invite people to come from these different outdoor groups, families with children. Your full moon hikes are super popular, Amanda.
Oh, yeah, so fun.
Yeah, so that one's coming up, as you mentioned, on the 29th. So
yeah, and I think they'll be doing that out at Carlin Canyon too. So if you need any information, you can just reach out to us out at the Trail Center and we can get you that information. But yeah, those are so fun.
And as you mentioned, beating the heat, something to know whether you're on the grounds there. There's some really nice hiking trails. It's very accessible, by design. The Trail Center is located just 8 miles west of Elko. Take I-80 and then take the Hunter exit. I mean, seriously, pop out there in like 5 minutes.
Yep.
But the other it's a great place to take kids. I mean, it's cool inside, right?
Yeah, we keep it very nice and cool inside. You can come in and fill up your water bottles. We have stations for that and everything too. But we have a nice picnic area outside with trees, with shade and stuff. So it's very nice out there.
Very nice. And again, free admission.
Free admission every time, yes. And then let me get it over to Macy. But before I do, I just wanted to throw out a quick bit of information about our Artist in Residence program, because we're just about ready to put out the application for that. So that will hopefully take place from September 10th to the 23rd. It's about a 2-week program. And so the BLM Artist in Residence program is founded on the belief that artists look closely at the way that the world works, and they're able to create art from that perspective. Ultimately, the artist will translate our public resources into images, objects, or performances that bring enjoyment and deeper understanding of our nation's public lands. So we are looking for any type of artist. If you are a photographer, if you write poetry, if you're a painter, anything, any kind of arts, we want to talk to you. So we'll be putting that application out at the beginning of next month, and you can find that on our Facebook. I'll talk to you about it more next month as well. And so if you're an artist or if you have an artist friend, please let us know.
Oh, that's terrific news. And again, it's September 10th through the 23rd is the actual dates of the residency.
Of the residency,
yes,
yep.
Yeah. And you'll be able to do, create something, do some more outreach. If you have that passion for your performance or your creativity, whatever expression it might be, this is a perfect opportunity. And we've seen musicians before.
Yes. We'll have a musician coming out in August from New Mexico. They had their Artist in Residence program, and they picked a jazz musician who is touring, and so he'll get to come out to the California Trail Center and play us some music in the summer.
Nice. So whether you're a poet or a playwright or a dancer, whatever kind of an expression you can turn into an art that you can share, you are eligible to apply for the Artist in Residence at California Trail Interpretive Center. Amanda Halsey knows all about it, and I know she would love to talk to you about that as well. And so thank you, Amanda, for bringing all your enthusiasm as you do every time on the program.
Oh, good.
And now you're inspiring and sharing that with Macy. She is from Nevada Outdoor School, which is another organization we love.
Yes, they're so wonderful. Let me turn it over to Macy. Welcome, Macy. Thanks for being part of our crew.
Yeah. Hi,
Thank
Macy.
you for having me here today.
Oh, it's wonderful to get to know you. Macy, and is it Rohr?
Yeah.
That's okay. Very cool name, Macy
Thank
Rohr.
you.
And maybe tell us just a little bit about you too, because Nevada Outdoor School does tend to attract these, just really cool people coming from all different places and just having a passion for outdoor recreation and especially kids, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I moved from Indiana here about 2.5 years ago to be an AmeriCorps member at Nevada Outdoor School. So I served there for a while, and now recently in the past few months, I just started my new staff position at the Trail Center. So I get to work there every day and just kind of spread our mission.
Well, how lucky for us. Macy, you came from Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you had an introduction to the area or to Nevada through AmeriCorps, or?
Yeah, I got offered the position and started looking into Elko, and I was like, yeah, this seems like a good fit for me. I want to try it out.
Well, and that's just another way that we can encourage people to get involved with their AmeriCorps programs, and this type of work in Nevada Outdoor School, because it does seem like you bring a lot of joy to people. You're involved in these really cool activities.
Yeah, and without the AmeriCorps program, none of that would be possible, because all of our programming is done by AmeriCorps members. So anybody who's 17 or older can serve with us. You get a stipend and an education award and lots of really cool experiences. It's almost never the same 2 days in a row.
Oh, Macy, that's terrific. And then we get to meet wonderful people like you who come out and live out in the West from Indiana. That's great. And it's an exchange. So say you're a Nevadan and you want to live in Indiana. You could probably find out about that there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks, Macy Rohr from Nevada Outdoor School. And this is a nonprofit group, by the way, based in both Winnemucca and Elko. And did you want to talk more about Nevada Outdoor School?
So Nevada Outdoor School really works to inspire responsible outdoor recreation. So there's a lot of education, appreciation, and involvement with nature that we do. So we host a lot of field trips, events throughout the year, and summer camps to get our communities outdoors. So right now we are in full swing summer camp season. We have all kinds of stuff going on this summer.
And it's not just for youngsters, but you do have some family activities and you do involve some adults in the groups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So coming up in July, we have a couple day camps. We have the Carlin Day Camp, and then we have a youth trap tournament and another day camp in Battle Mountain. But we also have a hunter education course on July 29th, and that's for all ages.
You know, that reminds me, Julie Gabrielson was in recently from EdDow, and she also has someone from AmeriCorps, so who's working with that agency and organization, and that's why these groups work so closely together. It's about recreating responsibly and safely, and you might think that, oh, if someone lives in Northeast Nevada, surely they know about how to go on a hike or how to best prepare for camping or, you know, how to recreate on an ATV safely, but that's not always the case, is it? Everybody needs to find out from somebody, right?
Yeah, safety is super important and something we strive to have more of. Like one of the things that we do a lot is Ride Safe, Ride Smart camps for those ATV riders and stuff like that.
Yep, and these camps, again, are geared for children, younger children. I think, do you have kindergarten classes in some of the activities and events, or what's the age?
So most of our day and summer camps are ages like 7 to 17, but we also do nature in the park every week, and that's in all the communities around. So if you want to find out more information about that, you can look at our schedule online at nevadaoutdoorschool.org. But that's geared for ages 4 to 7, but all ages are welcome to come to those events. And it's really nice because they don't require registration. You just kind of show up and we'll be there.
Oh, so you can make friends at the same time you make some crafts and find out about nature. And that's really cool, Macy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gosh, what a great opportunity. Again, partnering with the Nevada Outdoor School, California Trail Interpretive Center, the Bureau of Land Management. And I think, Amanda, you may have mentioned that you're going to be at Art in a Park this weekend, right? Is that?
Yes, we will be there, and we will be making a free craft with whoever wants to come up and do a quick little craft with us. We're going to be over by the museum.
Oh, that's great. Another wonderful partnership. You're wearing a very cool t-shirt, so I wanted to give a plug for your gift shop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have so much fun stuff in our gift shop, and I yesterday came in and we had all kinds of new stuff, bookmarkers, lots of buffalo things. You can come out there and get stuff that you can't get anywhere else in Elko. And not to mention, we have over 200 titles of different books that you can come and get that range from, history to just different hot spring locations in our area. So anything that you're looking for that's a little bit different, you can come out there and find it.
Nice. It's a beautiful gift shop. The whole building, the space is beautifully designed. There's sculpture on the premises. You have usually rotating artwork. I think the Native American students' art's still up, right?
Yeah, that'll be up until October. So yeah, definitely come out there and take a look at that. We've got the paintings and as well as the fire pit pottery that they have done.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for reminding us, Amanda. And thanks for bringing Macy in today. You guys,
yeah, my pleasure.
You look like a great team. I really appreciate it. Well, Macy, did we get to, because we can come back to you ladies as well. We've got important fire safety information from Mr. Mothershed, who's waiting nearby. But did we get to everything you were hoping to, Macy?
There was one last thing that I wanted everybody to know is that Nevada Outdoor School and the California Trail Interpretive Center, we have a partnered camp, and that's coming up on August 5th, and that's ages 11 to 17. So you guys can go ahead and sign up at Nevada Outdoor School.
Very cool. What will that be? What will a partner camp be? Like, will it be camping or?
Well, it'll be a day camp. So it'll be from 8 to 5.
During the day.
Yeah, it'll be during the day.
Okay.
And it'll be at the Trail Center. We'll be doing all kinds of fun stuff to take us back in time. I have all sorts of cool activities planned, and it should be a good time.
Oh, and young people especially, kids, they love that they can use their imagination, but at the same time, they're learning things, right?
Yeah. And it definitely experiencing things that might open them to a new perspective.
Thanks, Macy. Macy Rohr from Nevada Outdoor School alongside Amanda Halsey here today. Just an example of the great dedication that we have and professionals who are working to further the mission of California Trail Interpretive Center, which of course is all about the history and the responsibility that we have. I mean, it's a legacy and it's something that we all get to share in the ownership of. So do use the Trail Center, take your family and friends out and beat the heat. And speaking of, that's a perfect segue, isn't it, Clint, to you beating the heat this summer season?
Yep, yes, it is. Actually, a couple weeks ago, Sarah and I went down to Vegas and helped them out. So we really did beat the heat down there when we got to head back up here because it was nice and warm.
Yeah, definitely sizzling. And, people may be looking around. I've heard this. People are saying, but it's so green. It's so green right now. Is it comparably green for this time of year? What's going to happen?
I think just due to the fact we're well above our annual average precipitation for the year, that it's to be expected at this point. We're definitely not out of the woods yet. The cheatgrass, if folks have noticed, is fully cured and ready to burn. It's more the perennial bunch grasses that are still going strong. We expect things to change pretty significantly if the weather stays the same going into August. So we're not necessarily looking forward to August, but we're still working our way towards El Nino as far as the trend line is starting to flatten out a little bit. So maybe we've reached that temperature threshold almost, but it still impacts the weather in the Great Basin pretty significantly. Folks, for the next 3 months can expect average temperatures and below average precipitation. Nothing new, pretty much every summer for the last, as long as I can remember, that's what it's been. But the month of July will be hot and drier. Even though we have the possibility of precipitation this week, it's not going to be enough to change anything. The monsoon is just starting to form up in the Gulf of Mexico, and we just don't know how strong it's going to be, where it's going to track. Sometimes that does impact us. Sometimes we get, last year we got, I'd call them deluges. They were pretty significant rainstorms we had coming through here, and typically when we get El Nino, it does affect the Gulf of Mexico and the monsoon, and it tends to be weaker, so we tend to get dry lightning storms, maybe a little bit of rain, but nothing enough to possibly what we call a natural out, where Mother Nature starts fire and puts it out itself. So we're patiently waiting to see what we have going on. The green up is complete in those perennial grasses, and they'll start drying out too. Sagebrush fuel moistures are still pretty high, but that's all subject to change with the increased temperatures we're expected to see. We have reached the threshold finally where NOAA will begin initiating red flag warnings. And for folks in the public that don't know what that means, it means we're going to have high temps, low relative humidities, and strong winds. And when you couple that with fully cured fine fuel bed, it's a recipe for extreme fire behavior. And so NOAA's going to start, you're going to start seeing on the National Weather Service website red flag warnings, and it's an advisory for the public to be aware that the potential is out there for a wildfire to start a little bit easier and get out of control a lot faster. So I just caution folks when they're out there enjoying their public lands to think twice about what they're doing. I know we just got done with 4th of July. We did have a couple fires from that, even though it's green. Some fireworks got out of hand, and we did get a couple fires. And so for people out there that still have some fireworks burning a hole in their back pocket, maybe don't shoot them off. You could be held liable for the suppression costs of that fire.
Yeah, you'd feel pretty bad if you burned down somebody's house or you started a wildfire that took away someone's livelihood or a popular recreation area, and it's happened before. You know, you were talking about these hot temperatures, Clint, and I just heard an NPR report this morning. The last 4 days have been the hottest days that human beings have ever endured on this planet. Isn't that wild?
It is pretty wild. I'm coming from Vegas. I believe it. It was nice and hot. I was happy to get back up to the high desert. Yeah.
So in those kinds of, that climate condition is what just sort of bakes and cooks and the atmospheric and as far as the precipitation you're talking about, there just isn't enough moisture in the air to combat that kind of heat and the dryness.
Correct. Yeah. It's just how the globe works.
How the globe works. So, okay. So we wanted to talk about maybe some comparisons of what's burned, Clint?
So in 2017, we burned about 500,000 acres on Elko District. We had a couple of pretty significant fires. One of the largest ones did not occur on Elko District, but it burned onto our district. So that was about, I think, at that fire, it ultimately was almost 1 million acres by the time it was done. And in 2005, we had 150,000 acres burned. The comparisons are there for 2005 for sure. The fire season started late. The first large fire we had was August 5th. It was over by Midas, and that's exactly where our fuels are the driest right now.
What do we stand to lose in a fire like that, Clint?
Oh, I mean, you could lose residences, people's livelihoods, especially ranching families. You lose wildlife habitat, some critical winter range. You could lose utility infrastructure. Heaven forbid someone's life. So it's when it gets going, we start burning. We ask people to try to put a fire out if they started it, but don't get in front of one and try to do that. Just stay out of the way.
Clint Mothershed is fire mitigation, education, and fire trespass investigation specialist, so he definitely knows his stuff. And there's a lot of history of your own that goes into this. And so we do want to remind people, sometimes, people say, well, the best way to clean up my yard or property would be to do some open burning, but there are also some caution that goes with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. So speaking with Matt Peterson, Chief of Elko County Fire, before I got on the show, I always like to put in a plug for him and the open burning policy and what's going on. And right now we're looking at probably going into what we call stage 1 fire restrictions towards the end of the month, beginning of August. And what that will limit the public from being able to do is have open, like a dispersed, we call them dispersed campsites. It's not really an established campsite. It might just be along a road, but there's a rock ring there and they could have a fire. We try to curb that behavior. If it's a fee-paying site, the agencies have done their due diligence as far as mowing and treating all those fuels, so they're still permitted to have open flame there. If we get into stage 2, which might be possible when we get into hunting season into the fall, the way El Nino's looking, it's going to be hotter and drier. So if we get into stage 2 restrictions, it kind of limits open flame from a carbon-based source, and you're looking at having to use pressurized fuel for your heat, for your cooking and stuff like that. So that's where we could be heading, but the county's going to stop open burning. It's going to coincide when we go into stage 1 restrictions. So right now, you can still go to the Elko County Fire website. It's a really big button on their homepage. You can apply for a burn permit. It asks a bunch of questions, and it makes sure that you are aware of the rules, which are you can burn between 6 and noon. You got to have hand tools and a charged garden hose there, not just a hose sitting there, but have a nozzle on the end of it and have the water pressure there ready to put something out. And if it's over 10 miles an hour wind, they don't want you to burn either. Have a fire extinguisher if you can, and you need to call and let Central Dispatch know that you're going to be burning, and your burn permit number will actually be the phone number you use to register. So what has happened in the last few years is folks, they got their burn permit, but they didn't follow the rules. And so we send fire resources to these fires that are called in by their neighbors, and it's kind of a waste of resources. And, some of those county folks, they're working at a 24-hour station. And so, sometimes their days are extremely long, and anything that the public can do to let them get a little bit of rest is definitely appreciated by the county.
Well, Clint, thanks for the reminder. Again, we do need to take care of our rescuers at all cost. We really need to protect not just the physical, tangible property, the resources, but certainly the firefighters, those who respond in cases of emergency, and that's a really good consideration. Is it too late to start creating what's known as defensible space, since we're now here on the doorstep?
Actually, it's the perfect time. The perennial grasses have formed their seed head. They're dropping seeds, so you mow those down around your property, it'll put those seeds back into the seed bank, and it won't damage the existing plant. If you mow it too soon, you can kill those plants. If you do it repeatedly over the years, they won't. They'll just basically die. So right now is a perfect time, and we strongly encourage folks to do it early in the morning when it's nice and cool, later in the evening, and just be cautious what you're using. We've had fires start from people mowing their property with a lawnmower and a rock strike on the blade. There's quite a few ways that a fire can start just from folks doing something as innocent as clearing fuels around their house, but we highly encourage it. I've said this before, we don't have enough fire engines for everybody's homes in case there's a fire in your neighborhood. If there is and you try to rush out there to protect your home, law enforcement might not let you in. So you stand the unfortunate reality of losing everything and anything that you might possess. And some of that's probably some pretty cherished items, I'm sure. So I don't like to paint the grim picture, but it's just to make the public aware of the reality. When we do triage or in homes, when we get fires within what we call the wildland-urban interface, or WUI, it's not the homes that are the highest risk that there'll be a fire engine parked in their driveway. It's the one that the people took the time to create that defensible space to protect the firefighters. So I think folks just need to take that in consideration. And if they've got an extra hour or two on the weekend and they could do a little bit of it's all it is mowing the grass and taking out sage if you don't need it on your property, and limbing up your trees to keep the fire from getting in the canopy of trees, and spreading ashes, what we would call, or embers, we call spot fires, where a fire can start generating its own winds due to the convection. The embers get sucked up in, obviously lower atmosphere into the smoke column, and then it could be dispersed anywhere. It could be dispersed 100 feet out in front of the fire, a quarter mile, depending on the conditions and the intensity of the fire. So anything folks can do to protect their own, we just ask that they strongly consider that.
It's also a good time to consider, make your own evacuation plans, right, Clint? I mean, because if you have livestock, you have horses, you have animals, pets. I mean, there are a lot of things to think about.
Yep.
Getting out in a fire, right?
Yes, and there's a great resource online. It's an organization called Living with Fire. I think they are .com now, livingwithfire.com. It's through the University of Nevada, Reno Cooperative Extension, and they have over the last 20 years, all they've done is develop products for the public to use to get tips about how to clear around their houses. They actually recommend having a to-go bag and to actually practice like an evacuation drill at your home, and to know what bags you need to take, what things you need to do, medication, your pets. If we do get into the unfortunate situation where there's a lot of people displaced due to wildfire, I believe the Spring Creek Horse Palace is set up to be a place for folks to be able to take their animals, at least get them the basics until they're allowed to go back onto their property, and maybe have to, after their fences are rebuilt. So.
Okay, and that's another consideration. All of these, this is all important advice. If you live in rural Nevada, obviously you love it, but you have to be aware and prepare.
Yep.
And do everything you can to mitigate this kind of a hazard. It's a reality. It's just like people who live in the Midwest, deal with tornadoes, or, if you live by the ocean, you deal with, I don't know, I guess the threat of tsunami, something like that. Right.
Yeah,
so
and that's exactly why Living with Fire was created, is because we folks that live in the high desert or just fire-prone areas have to learn to adapt and be able to live with fire as a threat to your home, your livelihood.
Well, Clint, thank you. And we have time to do a little more outreach and to remind people that you get to have a little fun in your job and spreading the fire message, right? And that we all love to see you at these special events.
Yeah. It's my job's actually pretty fun. So for the public, we've got the Silver State Stampede coming up next weekend. Huge rodeo. It's one of the top 55 rodeos in the nation. Therefore, it will be on the Cowboy Channel on satellite television. 3 nights. The first night will be Wildfire Awareness Night, and folks will be able to get some more information on creating defensible space around their homes. There'll be a lot of visual type graphic stuff on the Jumbotron and on the little TVs around for folks. And we look forward to having everybody there. Typically, it's over 10,000 people that attend that event. Their purses have gotten larger over the years. They've been able to build the rodeo board has done a fantastic job building the rodeo back up to its former glory. And they're getting larger purses, therefore they're attracting larger stars. And that's going to be the case this year. I'm not sure who's coming, but I do know, talking to a member that I converse with quite frequently, that there'll be some pretty big stars. So if you're into rodeo, it's a great time. There's great food. There's dances after it's over. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to come.
That's right. It's a social event. People come from near and far, and we'll have some local stars too. I know that some of our local rodeo athletes are from the region, or they always look forward to this, and it's a chance to come and cheer on some of your favorite local rodeo athletes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have those folks will be here again. It's an exciting time. And then obviously we got Art in the Park this weekend. Smokey will be making a appearance tomorrow morning. And then before next month's show, we also have National Night Out, which is the first Tuesday of every month. So it'll be August 1st this year. It'll be at the Elko City Park. It's all emergency responders, ambulance, police, fire. There will be food there. It's somewhat catered, I guess you would say. It's a great event. You can kids might be able to meet Smokey. There's a lot of fun stuff, swag to hand out. You get to climb on fire trucks or look in SWAT rigs. There's all sorts of cool things for kids to do and enjoy. It's always been a great event. It typically starts around 5, I believe, and it goes till dark. So it's a good time. The only other thing I have to talk about is we have had some human-caused fires that weren't fireworks related. So far this year, we have had 5 vehicle fires, or vehicle-related fires. So, and after this interview, we're actually heading up to go look at one from last night. A vehicle caught on fire up by Wild Horse Reservoir and burned a little bit of vegetation, so we have to go do investigation and just to get the report filled out. So just again, I know times are tough. It could be tough for some folks, and if your car's not running right, we just recommend you get it looked at by a mechanic. Some mechanics might be willing to cut you a little bit of a deal if you do need some maintenance done. Your tires are significantly important. Over half of these fires were caused by some sort of a fire or tire failure or wheel assembly failure. Bearings went bad and the whole assembly fell off. And so it's that time where we just got to start. The hot weather, it just taxes your car a little bit more, your exhaust system. So if it's not running right, just take it to a mechanic and have it looked at to make sure that you're not going to get trapped somewhere, let alone start a fire.
Wow, that's serious stuff. And, I've been doing this a long time with you. I didn't realize that could happen. Your flat tire or your blowout, right, could cause the fire.
Yeah, it happens quite a bit along I-80. We'll find it would be typically semi-trailer fires, so there's no vehicle there. But within the fire, the burn area, you can tell what has been there for a while because the metal in the radial will be oxidized, and then you'll have stuff that's not oxidized, and so it's really recent. And there's other things too. We don't just go into the black and look and say, oh, look at there's tire debris all over along I-80. That's just the nature of it. But it's more about following our burn pattern indicators, we call them, and it takes us back to an area where the fire originated from, and then you start looking within that area. And sometimes you're on your hands and knees with a magnet trying to find that little particle and stuff. But yeah.
Well, thank you, Clint.
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks for all your hard work. I mean, you've been a fire investigator now for several years.
I have.
Yes, we appreciate
I got
it.
over 100 fires.
Oh, so, wow. Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of territory today, and again, just the basic message is safety. We sure hope that people understand. I guess we could also put in the plug about fireworks because there is a fire prevention order. It is a misdemeanor crime to carry, discharge, or use fireworks, explosive materials, including targets or steel component ammunition on BLM managed lands too. Right?
That's correct, and. I don't know if it's come out yet, but the fines for that are going to go up significantly. So it won't be a $10,000 fine. It could be a $100,000 fine. It just depends on the circumstance, and I would guess you could say the level of negligence that occurred.
Mm-hmm. So you could lose your home. Your family could lose the roof over their head if you.
Well, they don't do that. They would go after their insurance.
Is that what they do? Some
settlements happen where whatever the insurance can cover, they'll cover the Department of Justice and U.S. Solicitor's Office isn't into putting people on the street or
they aren't.
Taking their
Although
first
attorneys could be if you get sued civilly, right?
You could be, yeah.
Okay.
You could be held extremely liable. Typically, they just go after the insurance as well, but you never know. They do look into people's property, what they might have, what assets they have. They do have that ability in the law enforcement world to find out every cent that you're worth. So they leave no stone unturned.
All right. Check with your local, federal, state agencies for additional fire prohibitions and restrictions. Remember, ignorance is no excuse, and you could seriously damage property, or as Clint mentioned, it would be catastrophic if anybody were injured or killed as a result.
Right. And I don't necessarily like having to send that letter to tell people that they owe the federal government, the taxpayers, money due to their negligence. It's the least favorable part of my job, but it's still a pretty important part of my job that I'm expected to do. So.
All right, Clint, thank you again for being on the radio. We'll look forward to seeing you and Amanda and possibly Macy at Art in the Park on Saturday. It sounds like it, ladies. You'll be there. And did we, anything else, Macy or Amanda, that you guys wanted to toss in that we forgot to mention?
I feel like we're good. We covered everything, and we'll be back again next month to talk about more fun things.
Well, we're so excited. Thank you again for everything you do, Amanda, Halsey. And if Gerald Dixon were here, he's going to come next month. But I just want I want Gerald to know what great people he has. And you represent scores of other great people who are employed in our public land management and who represent us and our interest. And you live in Northeast Nevada, and it means a great deal to us. So hopefully people will stay committed and involved and enjoy the stewardship of our public lands, this great resource that we have that we all get to enjoy and take care of it. Right, Clint?
That's right.
All right. Hey, thank you, and stay safe, okay?
Will do.
All right, see you at the Stampede and see you all around town. And don't forget Smokey Bear will be at Art in the Park on Saturday and Sunday too, I think, right? At least Saturday. Probably
Maybe just Saturday. We'll see about Sunday, but
okay.
The bear will eventually get too hot and
That's
have to
true.
go back into
and we
this
don't
ice
want to
cave.
shave the bear. That is not a pretty sight.
No, it is not.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live today here on KELK.